Tonight, a look back at the last 140 days. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick sits down with KVUE to talk about what's next now that the session has ended. Living with a disability.
I just went through what they have to go through every day.
A first-of-its-kind program teaching young students through others' eyes.
I feel so bad for those who have to feel that.
And an alert for parents. Doctors seeing a spike in Little League injuries. The first sign something could be more serious than you think.
This is KVUE News at 6.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Quita Culpepper.
I'm Terry Gruca. We begin tonight with a 23-year-old man who is in jail and accused in the death of his 2-year-old son. Wednesday, Raimundo Silva Salas called the child's mother, stating the child was, quote, coughing and choking. She called 911 while rushing home. Doctors at Dell Children's told authorities the child was already brain dead when they conducted a brain scan. The child died the following day. Court documents show the toddler had an injury to the side of his head, as well as bruises to both sides of his abdomen. Injuries medical personnel believe are consistent with being shaken. Silva Salas is booked into the Travis County Jail. 48-year-old Alejandro Gonzalez is facing felony charges after allegedly being caught on video beating his disabled toddler. His older son shot that video and alerted administration at his middle school. He told investigators that he saw his father grab his 2-year-old brother by the hair and shake him violently in a high chair. The affidavit says the toddler suffers from cerebral palsy. The older son used his cell phone to send the video to his older sister after making sure his dad wouldn't find that video. Gonzalez is charged with injury to a child, a third-degree felony. Now to our one-on-one interview with Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick.
With the legislative session in the books, he's sharing his thoughts on what lawmakers got accomplished and what he says they still need to do. KVUE political reporter Ashley Godot spoke with the Lieutenant Governor this afternoon, and she joins us now from the newsroom. Ashley, last hour you and Patrick spoke about property taxes.
That's right. And so this hour, Terry and Quita, that, as you recall, is one of the two issues the Lieutenant Governor says he will push to have a special session on. The other is bathroom privacy. So here's some of what he had to say about that. To bathrooms.
Yes.
Now, we've heard, obviously, passionate and practical arguments on both sides. Why is it for, not Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, but for Dan Patrick, why is this such a priority? Why is this personal to you?
It's not personal. It's not personal. I'm doing what the people of Texas elected me to do. In Houston, this all started back several years ago in Houston when the mayor told businesses she was going to regulate their bathroom policy and she was going to allow men in ladies' rooms. Again, it's not a transgender issue. If you say that any man can go into a bathroom simply because they identify as a different gender, then any man can go in any bathroom, ladies' room, at any time. They can be dressed like me. And what are you going to say? If we allow these laws to be on the books and spread, then any man can walk in a bathroom and you can't say anything. They can just sit there and loiter. They can just sit there and watch. These are the sexual predators who are pervasive on the internet. And that's what we're trying to do, is to protect women's safety. They do not want their teenage daughters showering with teenage boys. This is not complicated. And that's why, whether it's African American, Asian American, Mexican American, Anglo American, it doesn't matter. 70 to 80% of people polled, Republican or Democrat, say, Dan, we're with you. And I'm going to fight for them because it's the right thing to do.
Are there any intentions to run for governor?
No. Look, we had a great session, most conservative session in history, kept our spending down, providing all the services, and particularly putting a lot more money and focus on child protective services. We had a really good session, except for a couple of bills that the House blocked. Greg Abbott and I are friends. Greg Abbott and I you've read the comments. He also thinks we need a rollback rate on property taxes. He thinks we need an automatic election. He supports privacy. We're on the same page as this, so there would be no reason for me to run for governor. He's done a terrific job. I've already endorsed him. I'm not changing my mind. I'm running for lieutenant governor. I like what I do.
Now, Patrick and many other insiders expect the governor will call lawmakers back for a special session. That's because Lawmakers didn't pass a sunset bill to allow a handful of state agencies to continue operating, including the Texas Medical Board. As for what else could be on the agenda, well, it's up to the governor, and he's expected to make an announcement later this week. Quita.
Thank you, Ashley. A huge loss for the city of Wimberley after the iconic Cypress Creek Cafe went up in flames this morning, eventually destroying the historic building it called home. The fire started at around 2 in the morning and the cause is still unknown. While the owners were able to get out safely, the family's dog and 2 cats were killed. Now that the cafe on the popular Wimberley Square is gone, many are left wondering what they'll do now that they're out of a job.
It's just a real shame that this morning a lot of those friends of mine have now lost an income. And we're talking people who have children and husbands and wives and families and houses themselves that you know, they're now waking up to realize that they're going to have to find another way to take care of that.
The fire caused approximately $750,000 in damage. One of the cafe employees says he plans to work with some in the community to put together a fundraiser for the owner's family.